Y'all, I'm a little loud today. Hold on. Let me turn her down. There we go. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? What's up? I hope all is well. And give people some chance to come in. And I'm excited for today. I know I was out for a little bit. And I'm happy to be back and to talk about our next topic. And let me just make sure I got my stuff up here. If you're watching, make sure to drop in the comments where you're watching from and tell me how you are. I know we're doing a mental check-in today. So tell me how you're doing, how you're feeling. And we'll get started in a second. Let me make sure. Let's see. That's not it. There we go. Yeah, I know that we didn't do a poll. Listen, it's been crazy on the school front. It is finals week or going into finals week. And I had some really, really heavy stuff I had to go through. Hi, Yeru, welcome in. I had some really heavy material to go through. My 2 classes I have this quarter is evaluation of trauma and family and couples counseling. So those are my 2 classes. So doing the final presentations and papers, it was some heavy stuff, okay? I'm just going to say that. So it's been a tough past 2 weeks, me prepping and getting stuff ready for that's due next week. So that's where I've been, if y'all are wondering where I'm at. But I'm still here. I'm excited to go jump into this mental check-in because granted, Debbie needed a mental check-in today, okay? But we're here. So I'm gonna go through and, sorry, I had some stuff to pop up here. I'm gonna go through and really this actual overview is really just a follow-up to the intentional pauses overview that we did, I wanna say, maybe 3 weeks ago, because when it comes to doing a mental check-in, you're pretty much doing an intentional pause. Like, that's really what that is. So this is actually going to give some additional detail to the intentional pause video. So if you haven't watched that one, I would definitely recommend going back to that one, watching that first, and then coming back to this one, because this one is basically a follow-up to that one. And I'll also add in the comments, I'll add the video to the comments as well. So that way you can go back to it. But I hope that this is helpful. Hello, how are you? So I hope this is helpful. We're going to go ahead and dive into the overview for mental check-in. And hello. Okay, that's odd to put into comments, but okay, great. But let me pull up my notes here. So, like I said, intentional pauses, that video is going to be one to go back to, and this is a follow-up to that one. Because in that one, we talked about what an intentional pause is, how you do an intentional pause, and we had affirmations, and I believe I also gave a few journaling questions in that video, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to really understand intentional pauses, go back to that video. Today we're going to talk about frameworks for mental check-ins, how to do a mental check-in, like actually physically, how do I do it? I'll give some additional journaling questions as well as some affirmations that you can take away from today. So I hope this is helpful. If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I'm a certified mindfulness coach. On this channel, we talk about all things mental health, but we also do meditations on a weekly basis. Like I said, I've been MIA for a couple of weeks because of finals, but I'm here. Y'all will get some more meditations this week. And happy Mental Health Month, if no one's told you yet. Okay, so intentional pauses into a mental check-in. What does that look like, right? So there's two frameworks I'm going to share with you today. The first framework is, and a framework is just basically a step-by-step guide on how to actually do whatever I'm explaining, right? So this is going to give you two different frameworks. One is going to be just a very general one, and then there's going to be another one that I'm going to walk through that's more specific to emotions. So I hope that this is helpful. And we'll go ahead and dive in. If you're watching and intentional with watching, drop in the comments where you're watching from, and let me know how you are feeling today. I want to know if you're feeling well, if you're feeling groggy, if you're feeling tired, if you're not feeling well at all. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Okay, first framework. So this framework is basically pause, notice, name, and nurture. Okay, I'm gonna turn my camera here. Pause, notice, name, and nurture. Okay. Thanks, Felicia. Welcome in for watching from Boston. Awesome. Pause, notice, name, and nurture is the first framework. So pause, step away and be still, right? This is back to, again, intentional pauses. Step away and be still. Sometimes we spend our days in an urgent mode, right? Everything is urgent. When you get up, it's urgency. When you go to work, you're urgent all day because you got urgent matters happening all day. You're putting fires out all day, right? When you are getting off from work, you're rushing. Everything's urgent, right? You got to go pick up the kids, or you got to, get to a certain place at a certain time. You have a late meeting or whatever, right? We are living our lives in urgency, especially if you're in the US, right? Other countries have things that they put in place to make sure that doesn't happen. The US doesn't have that, right? So we're always moving in urgency. So whenever you feel like you need a mental check-in, you have to pause first. You have to stop. So pause, notice, name, nurture. You start with your pause. Step away, be still. Whatever that looks like for you, right? Stepping away and being still could be just sitting in silence. It could be meditation. It could be prayer. It could be a walk, a nature walk. It could be just sitting in your car. Sometimes that feeling of when you're coming home and you don't want to get out the car, you got to sit in the car for a couple of moments. Whatever your pause looks like, make sure to pause if you feel like you have need a mental check-in. That's step one. Step two, notice. Okay, notice any sensations, thoughts, feelings that are coming up for you. What's coming up? Do you have pain in your body? Or you have overwhelming emotions that you're having a hard time regulate? So really thinking about noticing what's happening in the body and why you feel you need that mental check-in. So pause, notice is step two. Step three is name, right? So identify the emotion, identify the needs, identify what sensations and things that you're in the body. Notice and name, right? Because a lot of times we'll notice something is wrong. We'll notice that there's something happening, but we can't really pinpoint it. We'll go through the day and we're like, okay, today is an okay day. Everything's kind of going the way that it's supposed to be, but something's off. Something's not right, right? So really taking the time to not just notice something's wrong, not just notice that something's off, but actually naming it. So that way you can do something about it. It's hard to fix something or adjust something that you can't even articulate or name or even give language to, okay? So pause, notice, name, identify the emotion or thought and then do that without judgment. I think that's the part that trips people up, is that we're just basically getting to a point where we'll name something, but then we begin to judge ourselves for it. Then we get to stay and sit in shame. Then we get to stay and sit in a frustration and guilt and self-pity and depression and sadness and hurt because of the way that we're feeling or what we're naming or what we're bringing up for ourselves. So when you go through that process of naming and actually identifying what it is, make sure to do that without judgment. Okay. Let's see. Is it Shakibra? Am I saying that right? Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Okay. So now when it comes to the next part, so we did steps 1, 2, and 3. So number 1 was pause. Number 2 was notice. Number 3 was name. Number 4 is nurture. Okay. So pause, notice, name, nurture. Nurture. What do you need? Now that you notice what's happening, now that you have named actually what it is, what do you need, right? Do you need rest? Do you need support? Do you need encouragement? Do you need just a break? Do you need education, or do you need like just some type of information rather on what you need to do next? So like really taking the time to understand, okay, now that I've noticed, now that I've named it, what do I need? All right. And cater to that need. Take action. Okay. Action, depending on what it is, may look slower or faster or whatever, depending on what it is, but ensuring to take action, because what we do also is that we do steps 1 through 3, but we don't do anything about it after the fact. So we'll do the pause, we'll do the noticing, we'll do the naming, but then we stop at nurture. We don't find a way to fulfill the need that we have in that moment. Now, the answer to what do I need right now may be I don't know, and that's okay. That's okay. That just means that it's something that you have to explore further, whether that be through journaling, whether that be through therapy, whether that be, if you have, a trusted friend that you can talk to, that you can confide in, whatever your, even if the answer is I don't know, figuring out the I don't know is maybe what that next step would be. Okay. Your answer to that also maybe I don't have time, right? Well, at the end of the day, we make time for what we find important, right? And your mental health is important. And sometimes we put mental health on the back burner. We put our state of well-being on the back burner, and we have to bring that up in the priority list. We may have our own checklist of all of the things that we need to check off and get done. Mental health needs to be at the top of that list, and it needs to stay at the top of that list. Okay, we can't move it and shift it down to number 7 because we got too much going on right now. Like, it needs to stay at 1 through 3. Okay, so just keeping that in mind. So that was the first framework: pause, notice, name, nurture. Pause, notice, name, nurture. Okay. The second one, which is a little bit shorter, but it's more so something that you can use in the moment, and that's head, heart, and body. Head, heart, and body. So when it comes to your head, of course, what thoughts are on your mind right now? Writing them down. Okay. You may writing them down or just taking note in your mind, right? What are the thoughts that are in my mind? Heart, what are the emotions that I feel when I think that thought? So it's not just what I'm feeling in general, but when I think that thought, what are the emotions I'm feeling in my heart? Okay. Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it frustration? Is it anger? A lot of times, and I know I've talked about this before, anger is typically a secondary emotion. So when you feel anger, you always want to go an extra step and say, past that anger, what am I feeling? In my anger, I may be feeling guilty, or in my anger, I may feel embarrassment, or in my anger, I may feel guilt or hurt. In my anger, I may feel some form of sadness or deep depression or frustration. It may be I don't feel content, right? I don't feel comfortable. I feel uneasy, you know? So there's so many different feelings that come behind anger. So identifying the emotion, if there's more than one emotion, noting that emotion, right? And relating it back to the thoughts, right? You want to connect your thoughts to the emotion, only because if you're feeling a certain emotion all of the time, then connecting it to the thoughts can give you something to work with. Because sometimes when you have difficult emotions and you have nothing to connect it to, it just goes crazy and it goes wild, and you project on other people, and then hurt people, and it just kind of goes wild. But being able to identify the thought and the emotion and connecting them together will help you get a good understanding of what to do next. Okay. So like say if you have your mind is thinking I'm not good enough, right? And your emotions are sadness, right? Well, your sadness is connected to the thought that I'm not good enough. Why do I think I'm not good enough? Then you can have something to journal. Then you have something that you can work through. And then you have something that you can go into a process of healing. When you're just feeling an emotion, you may regulate it in that moment, but if you don't know what it's connected to, then it's going to keep coming back in a way that you're going to just kind of keep spiraling, and it's going to create a cycle. It's going to create a pattern that you're going to have a tough time getting out of. So connecting your head knowledge to your heart knowledge in order for you to make a decision on what you need to do next. So head, heart, and body. Body is the last part because a lot of times our feelings show up as physical sensations. So a lot of times it shows up in our body. So you have identified your thought, you have identified the emotion. What physical sensations or energy do you notice in the body, right? What physical sensations, what happens in my body when I'm sad? What happens in my body when I'm angry? What happens in my body when I'm, frustrated or overwhelmed? Like what happens when I'm anxious? What happens in my body when that happens? Why is that important? Because when you feel it, you know it's coming and you can do something about it, right? Typically, these things show up in our bodies before they show up here and before they show up here. Okay. So if you know if you actually can identify your body when it's sad, when you can actually identify in your body when it's angry, typically it will come up in your body first. When you really think about when you're angry, and you can really think about what sensations are actually happening in the body, you'll notice that they always come first. Always. It may come in simultaneously, right? You may have the thought and then the feeling may happen at the same time. But most of the time, especially anger, will show up in your body first. For me, when I'm getting angry, I get a warmth that goes down my shoulders and then into my hands, and my hands ball up, right? My heart starts to beat really fast. And then sometimes I feel hotness like in my neck, right? And then it goes like up to my ears, and my ears start to feel hot, right? That always happens before I actually feel the emotion of anger. Always, because I can feel it coming to the point where I'm trying to stop it. I'm like, okay, Debbie, calm down. You ain't about to go off today. We're not about to crash out. Like, I could feel it coming. So once you have that knowledge of your body and how it actually reacts to what's happening around you, as well as how it reacts to your emotions and feelings, it's easy for you to pinpoint what's happening. Like, okay, now that you feel the sensation, you're like, okay, I'm getting angry right now. Let me calm myself down. I feel myself getting angry. What's actually behind the anger? Those thoughts, honestly, I'm at a point now where those thoughts come into my mind when I feel myself getting angry. Where before I would just, you know what I mean? The emotions would come, the feeling would come, and then the emotions would come, and then that's it. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, Debbie, I know a lot's happening right now. You're getting angry. Let's calm yourself down. Take a breath. Maybe there's a way that we can remove ourselves from this right now. If it's too much for you to handle right now, let's just remove ourselves. Let's concentrate on removing ourselves. I shift myself to a solution. I shift myself to how can I handle this situation to where I'm not stepping outside of character. Okay? That's easier said than done. I'm not perfect, okay? Yes, self-awareness, Taylor, is definitely key. And I think when we think of self-awareness, we always think of like our thoughts, but our bodies teach us a lot. Our bodies teach us a lot about ourselves, and it teaches us a lot about our environments. And when we have the ability to pinpoint what our body is feeling, because of the fact that our nervous system is going to be what's going to tell us what actions to do next. And if our nervous system is always in survival mode, right? If our nervous system is already always in fight, flight, or fawn, right? Or freeze and then fawn. If our bodies or nervous system is always in that state, it doesn't understand thoughts, right? It doesn't understand that, hey, this is just a thought I am having. It's not an indicator that I'm in danger. Our nervous system doesn't know the difference. So our bodies are going to react whether there is a physical or whether there's a physical danger or not, right? So making sure that we're aware of what happens in our bodies when these things are happening is another indicator instead of us just going off of the thought. Okay. So that was number 3. So we did the 2 frameworks on our mental check-in. The first one was a general check-in. So pause, notice, name, and nurture. And then the second one was for really difficult emotions, or a quick way of going through, pause, notice, name, and nurture. Because pause, notice, name, and nurture may be something that you would do as a journaling prompt, or something that you would do, take some time to walk away from something. The head, heart, and body check-in is really great for if you're in the moment, if it's something that's happening in that very moment, you need something quick to ground you. Okay. So I hope those 2 frameworks helped. I have 3 journal prompts and 4 affirmations today that you can take away from our conversation. Definitely let me know in the comments if this is resonating with you, if this is something that you think that you'll be able to use. And again, for anyone that joined, this is in follow-up to another live. So we did intentional pauses a couple of weeks ago, which gave a whole lot more information on how to pause and why pause is beneficial to you. So if you want to go back and watch that, feel free to do so. And then there were also additional journaling prompts in that one, as well as affirmations. But these ones are new ones. These journaling prompts, the 3 that I have, they are very similar, but I worded them differently because I feel like it may pull out different things based on the person. So by any means, if you only want to write down one of these, that's fine. If you want to do 2 or all 3, that's okay. They are slightly redundant, but not. So I'll read them through, and then you guys can do with them with what you wish. The first one is, what's been quietly weighing on me that I haven't said out loud? What's been quietly weighing on me that I haven't said out loud? Last time, what's been quietly weighing on me that I haven't said out loud? A lot of times with these mental check-ins, and we're trying to figure out like what's wrong. Sometimes we know instantly what's wrong. Other times we don't, right? And most of the time it's the thing that we are the most dishonest with ourselves about, right? And that leads me into the next question is, what have I been pretending is fine that really needs my attention? What have I been pretending that is fine that really needs my attention? What have I been pretending is fine that really needs my attention? Okay. So the things that we brush off, the things that we say, it's okay. You know, when people say, "Are you okay?" or "How are you doing?" or "That's fine." You know, what is that? What is that part? What is the, it's fine? Those are usually the things that create, and I'm not going to say that it's one thing, right? It may be a bunch of those little things that pile up that say that you're like, it's fine, it's okay. We do a lot of this in relationships, right? Not just in romantic relationships, but friendships, platonic relationships, family. We'll just brush things off like, oh, it's okay. Oh, they did this wrong to you. Oh, it's fine, whatever. They didn't mean it. But over time, it will build up to a point where it's creating a problem internally, to the point where you're like, something's off, something's not right, but I don't know what it is. And typically it's linked to the things that we just brush off, right? You know, the things that we ignore, right? But I've seen it come up in my life a lot when it comes to relationships, because it's like you try to, because I used to be, I'm a reformed people